Hello everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the environment. This is going to be the first of a string of videos that I'm making, and ultimately what I'm doing is just drawing something that I see in the environment and discussing how it affects our ecosystem, our industry, and ultimately just the environment as a whole. So this, what we're looking at, is just a picture that I drew of the south bend of the Arkansas River from Tulsa. I'm looking at it from the north towards the south, and again, this is the south bend. So I've just gained some facts here about it, just to talk about it, and I'll add a picture here to show you exactly where I am when I drew this. So what this is or where this is location-wise, geographically, is between the Great Plains and the foot of the Ozarks. So the Ozarks spanning from northern United States all the way down to the south, and the Great Plains also spanning from the south towards the north parts of the United States continental. Now this river here, leading towards the right of this picture that I drew, that goes all the way towards the north part of Tulsa. So from here in the south all the way to the north, and extending as far as Sand Springs, the Keystone Dam. Now this this port is also known as one of the largest inland river ports in the United States, providing industry and jobs and things like this. What it does is basically people can come in, they bring boats, cargo ships all the way, bringing all sorts of materials and livestock, things like this. So Tulsa itself is actually on the northeast part of this river. So on the eastern side of the river is where I live also as well. Now this area was settled in the 1830s by Creek Indians who were pushed here from Alabama, and they were put there in accordance with the Removal Act, the Indian Removal Act of 1830. It's just another fact. So construction of this area and population-wise, people started living here, putting businesses near the river in about 1915. Times earlier than that, yes, is where it was settled, around 1830. However, this is about the time that construction started, and it started with Riverside Drive, beginning on Riverfront Boulevard, which runs all the way from 11th Street east, which is kind of at the north bend, running all the way south to 101st Street. So that's 9 miles. And this has been kind of like a highway, kind of just like a super road for Tulsans since that time. And up until now, from 1915 all the way up until current times of 2015, whenever they started building this pedestrian gathering place. It's now called Gathering Place. They've added 2 more bridges out there. It's just some more facts about this river. Currently, it's the most expensive park ever built in the United States. Has like adult jungle gyms, jungle gyms, and parks for children as well, and hosts area for just like picnics, gatherings. It's got buildings out there. Leads for basically tourists to come. It's an attraction. Now, another thing I'm going to talk about here is just the bridges, how many bridges there are. There are 8 bridges active on this river in Tulsa. So the first one would be the 71st Street Bridge. This is the one that I most commonly use, crossing from the east part of the river to the west part of the river over towards Sand Springs area. I make that commute for work oftentimes, or just to visit the mountainsides part of the Ozarks that's over there on the west side of the river. There's also the I-44 bridge. So this is just a vehicle transportation bridge. People drive it on the daily, so it's Interstate 44. There's also the Zinc Dam. I didn't do much research on this, however I know that this is towards the south part, more towards basically more towards Fort Smith area. Now there's also the Midland Valley Railroad Bridge, also known as the pedestrian bridge. This is going to be on the northern side of the river. I have been out there many times. A lot of people use it for just going out and having a stroll. It's also been used for railroads, likewise. Just steel girders, slim bridge. So another bridge that is almost parallel with the 71st Street Bridge is the 23rd Street Bridge. A lot of people use this for work, transporting from Sand Springs back into Tulsa. So there's also an 11th Street Bridge. It's known as the Route 66 Bridge. This one is no longer in service, actually. So another bridge would be the I-22 Bridge. Or, no, apologize, I jumbled my words there. It's the I-244 Bridge. This is another interstate similar to the I-44. They actually run pretty close to each other. So that's another bridge just used for vehicle commuting. And then there's also the BNSF Railway Bridge. This is obviously for the railroad. And this is about the only one in Tulsa that goes over the bridge itself, or goes over the river itself. This is the only bridge that a railroad crosses the river. So the pedestrian bridge is no longer in service. The BNSF Railway Bridge is now about the only one. As far as I know, as far as I've studied. If anybody knows, maybe drop some information. So last topic here on geography. This river spans in Oklahoma from Fort Smith all the way from the W.D. Mayo Lock and Dam, which is near Highway 64. And again, this is like Fort Smith, Arkansas area. Spans all the way from there. That's as far as I traced it towards the east. And it spans from the east at that highway and dam all the way to Sand Springs and the Keystone Dam, which is Highway 51, near Highway 51, around that area. So I'll add a map on here just to show some geography as well that you'll see at the end. Last thing that I'm going to talk about here, because I didn't search where else this river goes. It's just a kind of a conventional hobby that I'm doing, something to spread a little information. Why these rivers are important. This river specifically, if this were to go dry and become riverbed, basically it would cause Tulsans a big issue industry-wise. We would lose all, really all plants, and by that I mean industrial plants, gas, electrical. All of these places would kind of go out of business. Why? Because no one would be able to travel, and no one would be able to get to the port of Catoosa, which is the largest industrial port in the U.S., one of the largest. This also can affect things like wildlife, plant life, and without that, it just follows the food chain. So, thanks for listening. Live Earner.